40. Charles is going to go. See you later.
Welcome to Red and Gold. I'm your host, Rachel Sanchi. Yes, we know it's the offseason, but there's plenty going on in the Chiefs Kingdom. And that is exactly what we're going to hit this week and all spring. So stay with us as we travel around Arrowhead, Kansas City, and all over the country. Coming up, we'll rub elbows with some of the NFL's greatest players, coaches, and icons as we take a look behind the scenes of this year's 101 Awards Show, hosted right here in Kansas City.
This banquet is the premier banquet in the NFL. You folks here in Kansas City do it right. The Committee of 101 is just top notch.
The Chiefs have been very busy this offseason, and we catch up with the man in the center of it all, Chiefs General Manager John Dorsey. And we catch up with Chiefs Hall of Famer and 12-time Pro Bowler Will Shields.
The offensive line coach at that point was Alex Gibbs. And Alex, to tell you to this day, he didn't want me. He was like, what is this guy? He's from Nebraska. He's a run blocker. He has no idea about pass protection. He actually comes back and says, you know what? I'm going to make you a starter and I'm going to ride you to my retirement.
And speaking of Pro Bowlers, that's exactly what the Chiefs hope to find in this year's NFL Draft this April. But that journey started a few weeks ago at the NFL Combine.
Hey fans, Reed Farron reporting for Red and Gold here in chilly Indianapolis, site of the 2013 NFL Scouting Combine. What happens at the Combine? 300 plus pro prospects are going to try to make their dreams come true. Players are going to be tested mentally and physically over the next few days by all 32 teams, including your Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to be here to show it to you every step of the way. Here we are inside Lucas Oil Stadium, and behind me, Radio Row. Essentially, it's the red carpet of the Scouting Combine. But instead of posing for pictures, coaches, players, GMs are going to put on a headset and answer questions from radio personalities throughout the country. Here we are inside the media room where I'm talking a little bit softer because there are interviews going on throughout the day. There's 3 podiums labeled A, B, and C, where coaches, players, and GMs are addressing the media, similar to a press conference held during the season.
Look forward to this whole process that we're going through here with the Combine and with all the personnel decisions that need to be made.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was at the weigh-ins here, and I was looking at the receivers. I was just thinking to myself how much bigger these guys really are, and how much, bigger in terms of weight. There was really a lot of guys in between the 210 and the 220 range this year, and you normally don't see that, but it shows you how big that position is getting.
So as we walk the concourse of beautiful Lucas Oil Stadium, it's the who's who of the NFL. I'm bumping into coaches, GMs, writers. Speaking of what's next, the NFL Network's right up here. We're going to check out their set. Let's go. Now I'm partial to KCChiefs.com and our boys at 65 TPT. Behind me you can clearly see the NFL Network has this place covered from top to bottom. They have the main set up top, but they also have 2 additional sets down on the field where all the action is going to be taking place. And here, this is the catbird seat, where John Dorsey, Andy Reid, and the scouts have an elevated look as they look to evaluate the players that they find being the best fit for your Kansas City Chiefs. Hopefully I've done a good job giving you a behind-the-scenes look at the Combine here in Indianapolis. But just know this, all the hard work done by the Chiefs will be showcased in the fall on the field at Arrowhead.
I'm with Chief General Manager John Dorsey. Now, John, you've been extremely busy lately. Free agency has been crazy. Tell me about what's been going on.
I don't know if it's crazy busy. I think it's a normal working day. I think anytime you have the opportunity to add good players, create a competitive environment and add depth to your team, you go out and do that. So you use all means possible to do that. All along we have said that we wanted to study our team, we wanted to study free agency, we'd be selective in free agency, and then we'll proceed with the draft. And I think right now what we've done is we've been selective in free agency. We've gotten guys and identified core guys that we think can make us better and make us competitive as a team. And that's kind of where we are right now.
And one of the players that have recently been to Kansas City is Alex Smith.
Yes.
What is it that he brings to the Chiefs?
He has shown over the last couple of years he's been successful. He brings leadership. He brings a quality person. He brings respect of his teammates. He's a family man. He's a community-minded man. But at the end of the day, he can win football games for you, and that's all you can ask for.
How do the moves that the teams make with free agency affect or maybe change the approach to the rest of the offseason, like the draft coming up?
Our job is to create depth, competitive depth in competitive situations. And anytime you have a chance to deal in free agency and be selective and not overspend, you're going to try to do that. And I think what we have done is we've gotten the players that we feel best to move this franchise forward. And now that takes us to the next phase of the plan is that let's hit it in the draft. I mean, that's kind of what we're going to do now.
And with the draft coming up shortly, what are some of your goals in the next month?
My next goals is I have a target, a pool of players anywhere between 6 and 10 players, and I want to find out and see which one of these 6 or 10 players is the perfect fit for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Coming up, we visit with Chiefs great Will Shields.
You know, Coach, you've got a guy you just brought in. I said I might be behind him for a little while, but I'm going to take his job.
Then we catch up with some of the NFL's finest as we give you an all-access look into the glitz and glamour of the 101 Awards. All right, it's time to take a break, but first, let's see how much you know about your Chiefs. What year did Arrowhead Stadium open? A, 1972, B, 1970, C, 1968, or D, 1980? The answer when we return. Love the Chiefs? Join us. Stay connected and join the growing communities of the Chiefs Kingdom. There's so many ways. Twitter keeps you up to date on all things Chiefs.
They're not going to catch it. Sack of the game. Eric Johnson on a linebacker blitz.
Facebook lets you respond and react to fellow fans. And Instagram takes you inside with some of the best images of the kingdom. Stay connected to win some sweet prizes. Join in and be a part of your Chiefs 365. Before the break, we asked you, what year did Arrowhead Stadium open? The answer is A, 1972. The Chiefs and St. Louis Cardinals played the inaugural game at Arrowhead Stadium on August 12, 1972. The Chiefs won 24-14, with running back Ed Podolak scoring the first touchdown ever at the iconic home of the Chiefs. Welcome back. It's exciting to think of the possibilities for 2013, including new players and getting back to football at Arrowhead. But one of the best things about our Chiefs is reflecting back on players who've made this franchise so much fun to follow. One of those players, drafted in 1993 in the 3rd round from the University of Nebraska, arrived in KC and never left.
I was born and raised in Fort Riley, Kansas. Wasn't there for a long time, basically about 1.5 years. And then my dad was stationed in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. So we ended up being in Lawton. Lawton is a pretty small town. So it's a true military town where military dictates a lot of the things that happen. Before our junior year, we went and took this camp up to Nebraska, and we were learning their offense. And there was 14 of us, and at that point, we were trying to get a gauge of how good we were. And after that camp, they offered 5 of us scholarships on the spot. Then ended up getting drafted at the Kansas City Chiefs in the 3rd round. So the Chiefs only had a pick in the 3rd round because they had just got in Joe Montana, Marcus Allen, and had done all the trade things. So my agent's from Kansas City. He goes, "Don't worry, the Chiefs need a guard. The guard just left. They're gonna pick you up. I can feel it." So it was really cool because I'd sat in that meeting with that same coaching staff 3 months before that at the East-West Shrine game. at that time was Marty Schottenheimer. He sat there and goes, "So Will, I've got a guard spot open. What do you think you can do? Can you fit? Can you do this?" And I said, "You know, Coach, you got a guy you just brought in. You paid him good money. He's going to play there." I said, "But I'm not." I said, "I might be behind him for a little while." I said, "But I'm going to take his job." The offensive line coach at that point was Alex Gibbs. And Alex, to tell you to this day, he didn't want me. He was like, "What is this guy? He's from Nebraska. He's a run blocker. He has no idea about pass protection." So then my agent comes back and we were playing one-on-one basketball. He was going, "You know what? This pass protection thing is not as hard as you think." And I was like, "All right, what do you think?" He's like, "Okay, think about this. The quarterback is the goal. From that point, set with him, keep the quarterback in between you and the basket. It's the same difference." And I go, "Really?" He's like, "Is that simple?" He's like, "Yeah, just keep it that way and shield it and take it out." I was like, "All right." So then I go back to camp, the next mini camp, show a little better. Alex starts to see a little light. He likes it a little bit. And then he goes, "You know what? You need to come back up here and work out a little more." So, you know, most coaches have that month of break. He actually comes back and says, "You know what? I just called my wife and told her we're not going on vacation. I'm going to make you a starter and I'm going to ride you to my retirement." Each week I took it as a chip on my shoulder to where that's my job, that's my spot, and then I wanted to be the best that I could be at it to prove all the other teams wrong, that they were wrong for skipping over me. So it was sort of a vendetta, I guess, for, you know, the 14 seasons that I got a chance to play in the NFL. I have 68 Inside Sports. That's our, you know, basic performance, fitness center, gym, as you say. As you can hear, we got racquetball players that are playing racquetball right now. We have a spin studio. We're sitting in our, what we call our dojo, where we do our kickboxing. Next door, we have our Elite Golf and Fitness that does 3D, 2D analyzation of your golf swing. From that, you can actually go to our chiropractic. We have a chiropractic clinic on staff. Physical therapy. We have 3 basketball courts, so we do hoops. There's not too much of any sports that we don't touch. So work hand control. So we're gonna start here. I have guys that I'm training for the NFL Combine. Fortunately, I get a chance to sort of mold them a little bit more before they get there, so they'll have a little more insight to what to expect when the coaches do sort of put the lights on. Quick off explosion. Good, faster, faster. Boom, boom, fast as you can. I want fast as you can, get those 2. Pow, pow. Good. So you want to go boom, boom, really. You know, with having the Will to Succeed Foundation, what was really unique is that me and my wife started it by ourselves with just our lawyer, and basically we started building it. We saw it grow and grow and grow, and that led to us winning the Man of the Year award, where for me it's not my award, it's everyone that's ever worked with the Will to Succeed. It's their award. I just so happen to be the one that could put it in my house. Staying in Kansas City for me was very important. It's got a stronghold on our heart as well as our family, and that makes a big difference to us. But even more importantly, I think, is just the simple fact that we grew here as a family.
Stay tuned. When Red and Gold returns, some of the NFL's best and brightest take the stage in Kansas City.
How do you win 347 games and do it in just 33 years? And you always, the kids say you got to start early.
Yeah, you got to win early and often.
Each year since 1970, the most outstanding players and coaches are chosen in a nationwide media vote. That vote leads them right here to the City of Fountains, where a tradition began as a brainchild of Lamar Hunt has flourished into an exciting night of limelight, celebs, and the NFL's who's who. I'm here at the 43rd Annual 101 Awards, Kansas City's tribute to professional football. Since 1970, Kansas City has honored the great achievements of the sport by hosting the nation's premier salute to the best in the NFL. Now this black tie event brings a who's who of the NFL to Kansas City. And tonight, some of the honorees include NFL legend Don Shula, Peyton Manning, Kansas City native Aldon Smith, and many more. This should be a very exciting night. So what are we doing out here? Let's head inside.
It is great to be back with you, brother. It's
Every
good to
year.
see you again. Got a chance to see you on the road doing a preseason game for the Kansas City Chiefs. How about that? You
That
and
was
Trent.
fun to be a part of it here.
It's good to see that.
The AFC Offensive Player of the Year, Peyton Manning.
I don't know if you guys know about when Rich came into the league. He was drafted in the 4th round, I believe, to New England, and they wanted to play you at defensive back. When we started playing catch back in those early years, I figured out why they wanted to make you a DB.
You're right. You're right.
Well, it's a great Kansas City tradition. My father got it started back in 1970, shortly after the Chiefs had captured Super Bowl IV. And at the time, there was not a banquet which honored the National Football League and the great players and coaches associated with the league. He came up with the idea for the banquet. There are awards for the top AFC players and coach, as well as the NFC players and coach. And it's also an opportunity for us to recognize the best Chiefs players from the prior year. And we also always announce the new inductee into the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame at the event.
People around the National Football League, whether it's the coaches, whether it's the front office people, whether it's the players, they know that pro football matters in Kansas City. And I think the fact that it's 43 years in a row now says one thing, and it says something even more important, that the players and coaches make a point of coming here every year.
One of the most gratifying things about the 101 is how much the recipients enjoy coming and being part of it. And they have many opportunities throughout the year to attend banquets where they're recognized for their accomplishments. But to a man, every one of them says the 101 banquet is by far the best. It's the one they enjoy coming to every year. And I think that's really what's allowed the banquet to continue to thrive and grow.
Even though this is what I do now, and I'm around players and coaches at the NFL every week out of the year, I'm still a fan. I'm still a guy who was lucky enough to play in college, have a cup of coffee in the NFL. So to look around and see Peyton Manning, to see Wade Phillips, to see Aldon Smith, and to be involved in an evening where they're being honored for being the very best in the National Football League. Yes, it's work, but it's something I consider myself very fortunate to call it work.
43 years here, the 101 Awards, and it was always a fantastic night. The last 5 seasons, though, I think it's been just a little bit extra special, Rich, with the addition of the Lamar Hunt Award. It's awarded to an individual or a group that has helped shape the National Football League into the preeminent professional sports league that it is, probably the most powerful, successful league, not only in the country, but I think in the entire world. It's the winningest coach in the history of the NFL, Don Shula.
It's exciting for me to be here to accept this award because of my regard for the Hunt family and for Kansas City and 101.
We had a chance to talk earlier, and I know you've been asked this question 1,000 times. I mean, how do you win 347 games and do it in just 33 years? And you always, your kid and say you got to start early.
Yeah, you got to win early and often.
You're always going to have the class of the National Football League in terms of the coaches and players who perform the best, but to have really an institution of the NFL, whether it's Steve Sabol from NFL Films, whether it's Monday Night Football, or an individual who's accomplished like nobody ever has, like Don Shula, it's just an extra bonus to what already was a fantastic night. Again, it makes an A evening, it turns into an A+.
Time to test your knowledge with some trivia. Who was the first player to score a regular season touchdown in the new Arrowhead Stadium? A. Jamal Charles, B. Dexter McCluster, C. Tony Moeaki, or D. Dwayne Bowe? The answer when we return.
Corona Light presents Kenny Chesney's No Shoes Nation Tour. Starring Kenny Chesney and Eric Church, Eli Young Band, and introducing Casey Musgraves. Saturday, June 15th at Arrowhead Stadium. Tickets are on sale now. Available at all Ticketmaster ticket outlets. Kenny Chesney and Friends in concert.
Welcome back. Before the break, we asked you, who was the first player to score a regular season touchdown in the new Arrowhead Stadium? The answer is A. Jamal Charles. Jamal's 56-yard scamper in the first quarter lit the new scoreboard up, as well as a sea of red on a rainy September night. Thanks for hanging with us on Red and Gold. If you missed any of the show, be sure to set your DVR next time. or you can check us out at kcchiefs.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, go Chiefs.
Toss power trap.